Welcome to My The Asshole Podcast. Let's get into it. Welcome to My The Asshole Podcast. It is a Thursday episode. Woo, you guys' favorite episode. And yeah, man, we gonna get into the episode. The book has been getting really good. I am excited to see what goes down between our boy James and Wendy's dad. I think when we left off, they were at like a party, soiree, ball kind of thing. And James happened to take Wendy, and he made her wear like this diamond encrusted collar kind of thing. Crazy, but hey, to each its own, I guess. And so Wendy's dad was there, and Wendy's dad was just like, oh, well, I guess this is who my daughter is seeing. And that nigga James was just like, yeah, this my bitch. And I think she was the one that said, yeah, he took my virginity. Correct me if I'm wrong on that one. I think it was him. Or I think it was her that said, yeah, he took my virginity. I think it was her. Somebody said to the dad, yeah, he took my virginity. I know the dad was just like, God damn it, man. Bruh. Hey, that's not something you really want to hear as a fucking dad, So, yeah, man, the book is heating up. The book is getting spicy. So, we will be continuing today. We'll be doing chapters 32, 33, and 34 for today. So, you guys will be getting a nice little 3-chapter episode. But before we get into that, we have our thread. Today's thread is a bit interesting. Today's thread is cabin crew. What is the weirdest thing that you've stumbled upon after all the passengers deplaned? So pretty much after all the passengers leave, the cabin crew usually have to go in and clean shit up. So let's see what crazy shit that they have stumbled upon. So cabin crew, what is the craziest thing you've stumbled upon after all the passengers deplane? Years ago, a dirty diaper was left inside one of the seat backs. Absolutely disgusting, that is. Someone had ordered a sundae or something, looked like an ice cream cake, but served in a cup based on what remained, and eaten only some of it. The cup was then jammed into the seat back, upside down, where it continued to melt and pour all over the carpet. Massive pink stains and sludge everywhere. Lots of people are fucking slobs, sure, but that one nearly made me look up their name on the flight manifest so I can hate them personally. That's crazy. But honestly, yeah, I would probably hate them personally too. The fuck are we talking? Why would you stick a dirty diaper in the back pocket of a plane seat? And then if you're done with your little sundae or whatever, well, you could have just been asked the flight attendant, hey, I'm done with this, can you throw this away for me? Instead, they opened the little back pocket in the seat in front of them, turned it upside down, and put it into the thing. That's crazy, bro. That's insane. Wow, bro. Oh my God, dude. That's terrible. All right, cabin crew, what is the weirdest thing that you've seen after everyone's deplaned? A while back, pilot, was collecting an aircraft and asked the inbound crew how their flight down was. She responded that it was pretty normal, except she had to reprimand a couple for licking each other's nipples.
Bruh.
What? Okay. She didn't even seem that fazed by it. So, okay, hold on. Let's take it one step at a time here. For one, what? Why were they licking each other's nipples? What the fuck was all that about? What? That's insane. You're practically in public and there's people just right there, you know? Like, what the fuck? And then on top of that, how many times has she seen passengers just licking each other's nipples? You know? He did mention she wasn't fazed by it. So the fact that she wasn't fazed by it tells me that the licking of nipples is kind of regular on flights. Like what? Like what the fuck? That's insane to me. The licking of nipples is just normal. They're like, oh yeah, you know, it's just a casual Tuesday flight. You know, a couple nipple lickers. That's insane, man. Wow. All right. I guess so. All right, cabin crew. What is the weirdest thing you've seen after everyone is deplaned? Not a cabin crew person, but I was on a flight from Toronto to Orlando pre 9/11, and the lady beside me pulled out this cheese grater thing and proceeded to spend 2 hours grinding down her feet. Just piles of flakes of skin all over the floor and seat, and she would step in it and smear it around. She was trimming her nails and then, trimming her nails and they were shooting all over. It was fucked. The guy on the other side of the aisle told her to stop, but I have to get my feet ready for the beach, is what she said. She only stopped after being repeatedly asked by the steward to stop and clean up her mess, which she never cleaned up, and then argued with them the whole offboarding. Nothing like having to step over flakes of feet and toenails when getting off. That's disgusting. So she brought out this cheese grater thing and she was just scraping at her feet, and all these dead skin and all this stuff was just falling on the floor. And that is disgusting, dude. What the fuck? And then she's just like, oh yeah, I gotta get my feet ready. Gotta get my feet ready for the beach. Like, bro. Like, what the fuck, man? You could've did that shit at home or something. That's disgusting, dude. Absolutely disgusting. This is why I'm sorry, man. I can't work with, I can't work in like the public anymore. I can't do it. Ever since I stopped working retail, thank Jesus. Oh, bro, I can't do it anymore. The shit, and I mean the shit people do, it's just insane to me. It is absolutely insane to me. I can't, for the love of my life, I just can't deal with it. I will crash out on somebody. You know, like I will crash the fuck out on somebody because, bro, I can't do it. I don't know how y'all do it, but boy, I can't fucking do it, man. Jeez. Cabin crew, what is the weirdest thing you've seen while everyone is off-boarded? I fly for a low-cost carrier in Europe. I've loads of stories, but people leaving weird or random stuff behind. But the one that sticks out the most was a fake leg. Okay. We were aware of a passenger with a prosthetic leg as a PRM agent brought him on board with an amplified, but we would never think he could leave his leg behind. What the fuck? So my man is out here just hopping, you know, like he's just hopping like I don't remember where I left my leg. Like I would think a leg would be pretty important. Unless my man got like a backup one and he just was like, well, I'm going to just hop to the baggage and then I'm going to just whip out my extra leg. Good thing I brought it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, bro, how can you get away with leaving your leg? Like that's something you wouldn't just be like, shit. I forgot my leg. You know what I mean? Like, that's not something you forget, bro. Like, what the fuck? And then my thing is, did he take it off, you know, just to be more comfortable, or did he have to check it in with his baggage or something like that? I don't know. I would love to talk to that guy and be like, man, how did you leave your leg on a plane? How did that go about? Were you just, you know, not paying attention, or was it a thing where you were like, Because how, man? There's no way. Did you have a backup leg or something? That's insane. That is crazy. All right, cabin crew. What's the weirdest thing you've seen while people were off-boarded? I got upgraded on a 2-hour flight a while back. I am sitting across the aisle from a mom and her 2 young sons when I hear, "Mom, I have to go poop." Keep in mind, we're like 8 rows from the closest bathroom, but nah. Instead of escorting her child to the bathroom, she had him stand up in between the seat and the seat back in front of him while she cupped her hands under his ass. The kid shit into her hands. Why?
Hey, yo, what the fuck?
You didn't have a bag? You know what I mean? Like you didn't have a bag or just, something, maybe like one of those, little toilets that you buy for kids when you're like potty training them and stuff. You know what I mean? They just sit on the toilet and just do their business. That is absolutely disgusting. That is absolutely, she said, just doo-doo in my hands. That's crazy, bro. What the fuck? Yo, the shit people do on planes absolutely will never, and I mean ever, cease to amaze. Yeah, I mean, will never cease to amaze. People just, and it's weird because, like, I guarantee you she did that like it was normal. Yeah, like, think about it. She probably did that shit like it's normal. Like, oh, yeah, little Johnny's got to take a shit. You know what I mean? Like, what the fuck? Like, all right, little Johnny, shit in mommy's hand. Like, what the fuck, man? Oh, my God. All right, cabin crew, what's the weirdest thing that you have seen while passengers are off boarding? Not weird or what the fuck, but my grandpa worked for TWA cleaning planes and he'd collect hoard items left behind. He had boxes of reading glasses, nail clippers, pens, matches, etc. The best thing he ever found was a travel case with maybe 10 NES games that he gave to my sister and I. This was a huge deal in 1989. That is cool. That's cool as hell. I didn't know that they would let you keep stuff unless the nigga was stealing. You know what I mean? Because, like, I wouldn't think they would let you keep the things that you find on planes, but maybe they do. I think he was stealing shit. I ain't gonna lie to you. I think the nigga was stealing shit, but that's far and few between. Now, obviously, I'm sure this was probably back in, like, the 80s or whatever, so they probably weren't as strict with, like, planes as much as, they are now, of course. Or even, I would say, like, a little before 9/11 and stuff. But, hey, I mean, if he had that many items to where she called it hoarding, like, maybe they did let you take shit home. That's crazy, though. That's crazy, finding, like, a bunch of NES games. I know the owner of those games were pissed. Oh, I know he was pissed. You know what I mean? Like, think about it. He was probably going to, like, some convention or something. You never know. He might have been going to, like, a pawn shop somewhere or going to, like, an auction house or something to sell his, games or whatever, and motherfucker just left him. That sucks. Well, I guess at that time they probably wouldn't be as rare as, like, they would be now, but I mean, still, you never know. Like, he could have been going to his buddy's house. That sucks, man. All right, cabin crew, what's the weirdest thing that you have found or seen while the passengers off boarding? Not an airline attendant, but a friend of one who I reached out to ask the question. Her answer, bloody dildo.
Hey, yo, what the fuck?
What did he say?
That's disgusting. Don't want to know where or when it was used, but needless to say, we all walked on by and notified the cleaners they need a biohazard bag. And what's worse, we found the blood first. So was it just, I don't know. I don't want to say guarantee, but honestly, this is probably what it was. This lady was on her period. She was just like, God damn, I need me some dick right now. Thank God I packed my purple friend, and she went to town on herself. And then I think it was one of those things where, I guess the plane was deboarding or whatever, and she just was like, oh shit, I gotta go, and probably was in such a rush she just left it there. That's crazy. That's disgusting. That is absolutely disgusting. Wow. I guess people will leave anything, All right, cabin crew. What is the weirdest thing that you have seen or come across while people are deboarding? Not cabin crew, but piloting. One night, my captain and I heard someone accidentally key up on the guard frequency that they needed stations operations to have a gate and biohazard personnel ready for them because a passenger had smeared their shit all over the lavatory. We'll never know if it was real or just some fucking around on the frequency. We occasionally will accidentally forget to switch to operations frequency when making those calls, but gave us a good laugh and hoping that whatever crew had to gate return for that got their schedules cleared and a long overnight out of it. So from what I sort of understand when it comes to like pilot jargon and all that stuff, the plane was leaving the gate and they took off, and then over the radio they were like, ah shit, there's some motherfuckers smearing doo-doo all over the plane or whatever. We need to get some biohazards and some bio bags and stuff like that. We got to get shit cleaned up because, obviously this is considered bodily fluids. And so they had to turn the plane around, land, clean the doo-doo up and all what was going on. I'm sure kick the people who were responsible off the plane and then get back in the air. That's crazy. That is insane. Obviously, this wasn't their plane. They were hearing this on the radio about someone else's plane. And so, the fact that I would be honestly pissed if I was on a plane that took off and then we had to turn around, land, and they're like, oh, sorry, passengers. We had a bit of a situation. Someone smeared doo-doo all over the plane, and and we had to clean it up. So, once that's all cleaned up, we'll be back in the air momentarily. Yeah. And you know what I mean? Like, how pissed people would fucking be. Like, hell yeah, kick that bitch off the plane. What the fuck are we talking about? That's insane, dude. That is insane, man. People are disgusting. Oh my God. All right, cabin crew, what's the weirdest thing that you have seen or come across while people were deboarding? I was a baggage handler at a small airport back when I was younger. Used to have to clean up plane cabins at the end of the day. The other guy's favorite joke to play on the new guys was to pour some Bloody Mary mix on a maxi pad and leave it in a seat for one or other guys to find it. Gross. Never found anything else really. That's fucked up, man. That's fucked up. But I mean, hey, that's hazing for you. You know what I mean? That's hazing. Oh, shit. All right, cabin crew, what is the weirdest thing that you have seen or come across while people are deboarding? Before I became a flight attendant, I worked in customer service and as a ramp agent at my station. We were a regional for a larger carrier, so we did a lot of things ourselves, like catering, taking care of missing baggage, and even had our own lost and found. Well, one day I was watching the lost and found desk, and one of our gate agents come in with a laptop. She said that she found it at an empty gate. So I had no flight information to go off of. The laptop had no stickers or other identifying information on it. So I thought to myself, I bet if I open it, it will have a lock screen with the owner's name. So I opened it, but the laptop didn't open to the lock screen. It opened to the tab the owner had been viewing, which was a porn site, and had a video paused right at the scene where the guy was fisting a girl's gaping booty hole. I immediately slammed the laptop shut, and since then I have never ever opened someone else's laptop again. That's crazy. So was this a thing where like my man was just openly beating his meat, and then he heard that the flight was about to take off, and then he was like, oh shit, I gotta go, and just forgot his laptop? Or was it something where like He must have like nutted and then was just like, oh shit, my flight. Oh, got up and just left the laptop there. I don't, you know what I mean? The world may never know on this one. That's crazy. That is insane. You know, hey, honestly though, after all that we've gone through with this thread, I wouldn't put it past it. From the bloody dildo to the dirty diapers in the thing to the mom having, you know, her son shit in her hands. Like, people are just insane. They are just insane. I wouldn't put it past homeboy. You know what I mean? The beating his meat in the fucking terminal. You know, like, I would not put it past him. All right. We're going to do 2 more and then we'll get into our book for today. All right, cabin crew, what is the weirdest thing you've seen or come across while people are while passengers are deboarding? Not necessarily what you asked, but I think story is good. We had a passenger come up to us mid red-eye flight, Reno to Dallas. Another passenger had peed in the aisle right next to her, like stood up, walked 15 feet, peed. Police met the plane and we had no idea what happened, nor did his wife. My friend found $25,000 in a bag left on a plane. They returned it and received a thank you card on behalf of the passenger from the company. Whoa, imagine. I mean, fuck the pee thing. Imagine finding $25,000 on a plane, bruh. Woo! Let me know down in the comments, what would you do? What would you do if you found $25,000 at your workplace and it's just in a bag? Like, I ain't gonna lie to you. I would be like, I found 10 grand in the bag. I ain't gonna lie to you. Man, I'd be like, oh shoot, I found this bag and it's got like 10 grand in it, you know? Like, yeah, there's totally not 15 grand missing. Like, what the fuck? I'd be like, hey, you know what? I'm sick. Like, I gotta go home early, you know? Tummy is just not agreeing with me, you know? Like, I gotta go home. I'm about to go home, my 15 grand, but let's go. Hey, man. Hey, it's on like Donkey Kong. I ain't gonna lie to you, man. It's on like Donkey Kong. The fuck are we talking about here? It's shit. I found 25 grand. So smooth, you know? And they gonna be like, oh, what happened to the other 15? I don't know. I don't know, man. All I did was find the bag, bro. That's all I did. I just found the bag, man. I saw the money in there, you know, and that's when I just returned it. Shit, but yeah, let me know what you would do. 25 grand you found out your work. That's crazy. All right, this is going to be our last one for today's thread. Cabin crew, what's the weirdest thing you have seen or come across while passengers are deboarding? Flying to Sofia, Bulgaria, and a British guy of Indian descent stood up with a diaper tied together with a safety pin, a hard candy pacifier around his neck, and nothing else, went to the front of the plane and then crawled back, sucking his thumb. He was part of a British stag do, bachelor party, and his friends kept shouting, go, or goo goo pal. Go pal. I have no idea. You motherfuckers across the pond, I don't know what y'all be talking about, man. A stag do? Just call it a fucking bachelor party. These niggas are like, yeah, man, how was your stag do? Like, what the fuck? No. Okay, hey, whatever, man. Once on the ground, the police collected him and took him away. That's crazy. My man got arrested. My man got arrested for being in a diaper. He said my man was in a diaper and he had a fucking pacifier around his neck and he was sucking his thumb. And they were like, yeah, get this nigga off the plane, bro. He needs to go. Gopal on his way back exposed himself to some Bulgarian women who complained to my staff and we took necessary action. Oh, okay. So I guess he was indecently exposing himself to like women and shit like that. So I'm sure there was sexual harassments and all that kind of stuff going on. Yeah. All right. I guess that makes sense. Cause I thought the nigga was just in a diaper. Cause at first I'm like, how did he get on the plane dressed as a big ass baby? Like, let's be real here. How did he get on the plane? Like, what the fuck is all that? If I'm being straight with you. That's a little weird. But, hey, teach his own is what it is. That's some crazy shit. Oh, man. Hope you guys enjoyed that thread. I know I did. That was a crazy-ass thread. People on planes are weird and crazy. The shit they do, hey, man, it's insane. Absolutely insane, if I'm being honest with you. Absolutely insane, the shit people do in public, on a plane, just in general. This is why, like I said, I personally could not work in the public. I just can't do it, man. I can't work in the public ever again. I just can't do it, bro. People are just too insane. They're crazy. They be doing shit. It's like y'all you don't fear consequence, like the fact that homeboy stood up in a diaper and a pacifier around his neck and he was showing his dick to bitches on the fucking plane. And then the dude gets arrested at the end. Like, bro, you know what I mean? The mom doodling in their hands and motherfuckers just doing some crazy shit. Like, they just don't understand. Oh, God. That's what this world has come to, I guess, man. Oh, goodness. But that's going to be that thread. Hope you guys enjoyed the thread. If you've seen some crazy shit on a plane, let me know. Put it down in the comments, man. I'd love to see what you guys got going on, all right? But without further ado, let's go ahead and get on into our announcements, and then we'll get into today's book, all right? We'll get into our 3 chapters. Patreon.com/MyLastSoulPodcast. $3 a month gives you an exclusive episode every single Friday, as well as being able to send in your scenario to be featured on the Tuesday and Sunday shows. All right, get in there, help your boy out. I appreciate it so much. Last Friday, we did a free Patreon episode for the month of June. So if you want to check that out, we also have a playlist as well. We have a Spotify playlist and a YouTube playlist for you people out there. So that way you guys can check it out and see if that is something for you. You know what I mean? See if you guys are like enjoying what we got going on. If you guys like what the free Patreon episodes and stuff, you may be like, oh, you know what, $3 a month ain't that bad, and you get over 100 hours of content all right there, baby, all wrapped up in a nice little bow for you. Okay. Audio listeners, keep downloading the podcast as well as rating us 5 stars. It helps out a lot, and I appreciate it so much. Okay. And if you want to help us out even more, go ahead and follow us on Instagram and TikTok. Subscribe to us on YouTube. All that is free, and it helps out the show tremendously. All right? So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the book for today. I am excited to get into this book. It feels like we haven't gotten to this book in a while, so I'm excited to get into it. So let's get on into it, all right?
32. Wendy. The rest of dinner is filled with tense stares, nothing but the scraping of silverware, and the people who speak on the stage waxing poetic about solving injustices in the world by throwing $1,000,000 parties with $1,000 seats. But my insides are raging. Shouldn't you be at the mansion? He didn't even know I was gone. I was kidnapped, and he didn't even know I was gone. I've been telling myself for months that I need to admit he isn't the man I remember. But this is the moment where the piece of my soul that was clinging on finally breaks, falling to the floor and shattering into 100 jagged pieces. He didn't even know I was gone. But of course, he could show up here. God forbid his image ever take a hit. His public image, that is. It's clear as day to me now that he doesn't care how I see him. And there's something going on with Hook's friend, Rue. The silent conversation with the commissioner, the way his name sends Hook into a tailspin, and now my father mocking his missing friends. It has my nerves wired and on high alert. I know why Hook has me here. That's become very obvious. But I can't for the life of me figure out why my father is taunting him. Why he even deals with someone like Hook in the first place. Unless he's not who he pretends to be. And that, more than anything else, has me feeling like the stupidest person on the planet. Because how can you live with someone? How can you spend years breathing the same air, worshipping their every move, loving them with your whole heart, and not really know who they are. The realization splits through me and breaks the lock on all of the things I let go unsaid, all of the times I've wanted to strike back, but nodded and smiled instead. I know Hook is most likely going to hurt me for lashing out, but I can't find it in me to care. Finally, being able to speak my mind is liberating. And when Hook not only allows it, but encourages it, I feel like I have someone at my back. As twisted as that may seem. I glance over to watch him as he nods along to something a man next to him is saying, my stomach somersaulting from my completely upside-down emotions. How is it possible that this man, the one who threatened my life less than an hour ago, the one who chained me to a basement wall, how is he still the only one who seems to treat me as if I'm valid? He made the police commissioner apologize for insulting me and rubbed my neck while I stood against my father and his bitch of an assistant. And that doesn't feel like Hook. That feels like James. I shake my head, reminding myself that he's putting on a show. None of the way he's treating me is for my benefit, and forgetting that won't do me any favors. My eyes slide past Hook's frame, noticing that one of the twins is walking in our direction. They reach us and bend down to whisper in his ear. Hook's fingers, which have been trailing along the top of my thigh, freeze in place, and he straightens. With a squeeze on my leg, he moves, placing his napkin on the table.
If you'll excuse me for a moment, there's a pressing matter that needs my attention.
He stands, cutting a glare to my father, before leaning down to press a kiss to my cheek, his fingers tangling in my hair.
Behave,
he murmurs against my skin.
There's nowhere you can run that I won't follow.
Anxiety mixes in my bloodstream as he walks away, my stomach tightening with indecision. My father is sitting right there, and he's the one man on this earth who could save me. But at what cost? I won't do anything unless I know that John will be protected, and he's proven time and time again that he doesn't make him a priority. No. What is wrong with me? He wouldn't let him die. John is still his child, after all. My insides twist, disgust weaving its way through my middle at how easily my mind has gone from believing in the good of people to questioning what type of murder they'd accept. A few days around criminals, and suddenly I've accepted it as fact. It bothers me that it doesn't bother me the way it should.
Wendy, I'd like to speak with you, please.
My father wipes the corners of his mouth with his napkin before placing it down.
In private.
My heart stutters, knowing that's something Hook wouldn't like. But Hook isn't here, and I deserve some answers. I nod my head, pushing my chair back and glancing around, half expecting someone to jump out and grab me. But with every step I take, the easier I breathe, realizing that nobody is going to come. We walk through the ballroom until we reach the back patio doors, my father allowing me to exit first, before he follows behind. We're the only people out here, and a chill sets into my bones as I shiver from the cool breeze.
He's using you to get to me.
I jerk from his sudden words, my hand coming to rest on my chest. I'm not sure what I expected. Maybe an apology for him not realizing I was gone, or for being able to show up here, but always missing everything else. The fact that I clearly know nothing about my father pours down my throat until all I can taste is the bitter truth. I shake my head, huffing out a laugh. Did you really not know I was gone?
Wendy, be reasonable. If this is you acting out for attention,
Answer the question! My fists clench at my sides. He sighs, rubbing his hand over his brow.
My security team told me you weren't home, and I assumed you were throwing a tantrum.
His words blast through my chest like a bomb, charring my insides black. A tantrum, like I'm a child.
If I would have known that you were busy frolicking around with a psychopathic criminal, I would have scoured the earth to track you down.
My mouth gapes as I stare at him. How do you know that?
Know what?
That he's a psychopathic criminal. My stomach churns. How do you know that?
How do you not?
He puts his arms out to the sides.
You're playing a very dangerous game here, Wendy. One you know nothing about.
The burn expands, scorching my throat. Don't belittle me! His eyes widen, and I step forward, my fingers running through my hair, my heart beating wildly in my chest. I am so sick of everyone treating me like I'm some porcelain doll who's supposed to keep her mouth shut and look pretty. My opinions matter. His gaze softens.
Of course they do, little shadow.
He moves toward me.
I'm trying here.
I scoff. You haven't tried since Mom died. His jaw sets.
You know nothing about your mother.
I throw my hands up. So I'm just stupid then. I don't know Hook, I don't know my mother, and I sure as hell don't know you.
Is he forcing you to be here?
He steps even closer, his voice soft as if he's trying to lure an animal into a cage.
Has he hurt you?
My breathing stutters as I grit my teeth, the urge to tell him screaming from the back of my throat. How's John? I ask instead. His movements falter.
What?
I asked how John was. You know, your son.
What does that have to do with our conversation right now?
His brows draw in. A lot, actually. My heart swells with hope that he'll tell me he's been to see him, that he just spoke to him on the phone and he's settling in well. He runs a palm over his face.
I'm sure he's fine.
Disappointment settles like a brick, crashing through my insides, making a sob lodge in my throat. He hasn't even talked to him. And if he can't be trusted to make a simple phone call, how can I trust that he'll make sure he's safe from Hook? Guilt wraps around me, realizing that John's been all alone, acclimating by himself. Closing my eyes, I release a deep exhale, a sick feeling settling in my gut and expanding until acceptance of my situation fills me up and wraps around my edges. He isn't forcing me, I say slowly.
He's using you to get to me,
he repeats. He's not wrong. Hook has all but told me that he only cares about getting to my father. But until this moment, I hadn't known how much that revelation hurt. The days leading up to this have numbed me to the pain, but with acceptance comes realization, and now the wounds are throbbing from where Hook dug his way into my heart, only to carve himself out. The faint sound of a door opening and closing comes from behind me, but I don't turn to see who it is. There's no need. It's impossible not to feel him when he enters a room.
Well,
his accent floats on the breeze, wrapping around my neck like a noose.
Isn't this cozy?
Heat envelops my back, Hook's arm slipping around my center and pulling me flush into his body. My heart jumps in my chest, dinner rising through my throat until I have to cover my mouth to keep it down.
Trying to steal my date, Peter? Or just using her to plan your next foolish adventure?
My father's eyes narrow.
Whatever you're trying, kid, it won't work.
Hook's body stiffens, the heel of his palm pressing against my abs. My hands reach up to cover his forearm, and then, quick as lightning, my head is wrenched to the side, the tendons in my neck stretching until it hurts. I whimper from the pain, my fingernails digging into Hook's skin.
Are you trying to get her killed?
My heart stutters at his words, my eyes widening as I stare at my father. But all Dad does is smirk, his gaze landing on me.
I told you, little shadow. He doesn't care for you.
My insides burn. A deep chuckle rumbles in Hook's chest, and it vibrates through my bones, setting my nerves on fire. He leans down, pressing his pillow-soft lips to the middle of my throat, his tongue swiping out to taste my skin. Heat spreads between my legs, followed closely by the revulsion at the fact my body can be turned on by this sick situation.
Do not make the mistake of thinking I am like the other men you've dealt with.
Hook releases my head, pushing me to the side gently as he stalks toward my father.
I do not care for my reputation. I do not care for the money or the businesses you burn.
My father's lips turn down, and my head spins, wondering what he's talking about.
In fact, there is nothing you can steal from me that you haven't already taken.
He steps closer until he towers over my father's frame.
These are my streets, he continues, and I've been waiting so patiently for you to come and play.
His hand reaches in his pocket, the brown handle of his knife making my insides curdle with fear. My heart catapults into overdrive, my feet moving before I can stop them, and I run, shoving myself between them, my father stumbling back a step. "Don't," I beg. "Please, just don't hurt him." Hook's eyes widen slightly, but he stands stoic, a slow grin creeping on his face. His fingers reach out, brushing down my jaw.
So loyal.
He looks behind me to my father.
And where are your pleas, Peter?
His brows rise.
Or maybe you'd rather I spill her blood to cover your sins.
Silence. Deafening, heartbreaking silence. Hook's eyes lock on mine, and I hold his stare, my stomach rising and falling along with the uneven beats of my heart, my nostrils flaring from the agonizing pain of my chest, cracking in half. He exhales, bending his neck to the side until it cracks, and then nods, reaching his hand out.
Very well.
Relief pours through my veins, my body trembling as I place my palm in his. He tugs, and my body flies into him. My fingers press against his chest, his arm wrapping around my lower back, and his mouth finding my ear.
I want you to memorize this moment, darling. Remember how it feels to realize your father was willing to let you die in order to save himself.
And then he whisks me away, while my soul shatters to dust. 33. Wendy. Hook is silent in the limo ride, but I can feel the rage pouring out of him and infusing the air. It's thick, suffocating. My eyes flick from him to the streets whizzing by, wondering if he's angry with me and asking myself why I care. The car turns the street corner and my breath stalls in my lungs as the familiar landmarks come into view. I know this street, and it isn't the marina. "You said you wouldn't bring me back here," I rush out, panic seizing my insides.
And you said you wouldn't misbehave.
He picks invisible lint from his suit. My jaw drops. "I didn't. I did everything you asked for."
You think gallivanting off with your father was something I would ask for?
He snaps. My heart drops to my stomach. I swallow. "That had nothing to do with you." I cringe, knowing how pathetic it sounds even to my own ears. He chuckles.
Darling, if you expect me to believe that, then you're truly a stupid girl.
My teeth grind, fists clenching. "I am not a girl." His head tilts.
Just stupid, then?
I breathe deeply through my nose, trying to stem the roiling in my gut when I imagine being tossed back into that dark dungeon of a room. "Please, I don't want to be back in that basement." He sighs, his fingers rubbing at his jaw.
You're not.
My head snaps up, relief flooding through me. I'm not. The car rolls to a stop, blues and reds flashing over my skin through the windows. What in the world? The door opens and Hook steps out, his hand appearing in front of me. My heart jolts when I place my palm in his, allowing him to pull me from the car. He's a dichotomy, threatening my life in one breath and being a gentleman in the next. It's terrifying how he can do both so flawlessly, as if they're integral parts of him, coexisting peacefully as one. It tosses everything I've ever been taught about good and evil out the window until it skews and blurs in my brain. Shock spirals through my center as I exit the car, my breath whooshing from my lungs. The smell of ash is strong in the air, making my nose tingle from the stench. There are fire trucks and ambulances, a few cop cars off to the side. And the JR is gone. Burned to the ground, nothing left but rubble. My hand reaches up to cover my mouth. Oh my God, what happened? Hook's face is stoic as he surveys the damage.
Your father, I would presume.
No. My heart jerks, the defense spinning off my tongue before I can even think through the words. But he was with us tonight. He wouldn't. Hook looks at me then, and my words die out, the memory of this evening replaying in my head. I swallow around the sadness building in my gut and spreading through every limb. A keening wail comes from down the sidewalk, and my head snaps over, the waitress from the JR running up to Hook and throwing her arms around his shoulders. My chest pulls as I watch them embrace, but I step away, allowing them their moment. What do I care if they provide each other comfort? Hook's arms come up slowly, peeling her off him.
Mora.
Hook, it was terrible. I don't know, she hiccups. I have no clue what happened. One second everything was fine, and the next. She covers her mouth, breaking down again in sobs, and I glance around, my stomach sinking, hoping that no one was hurt inside. But I can't help feeling relief, too, at the fact that if there's no JR, then there's no basement with shackles and chains. We don't stay at the site for long before Hook has us back in the limo and on his yacht. Somehow we ended up lying on his bed, still in full evening wear, not speaking, barely moving at all. My mind replays the past few days, going back and forth over everything, wondering if what Hook says is true, if my father really is the one responsible for so much damage. My stomach turns, and my heart kicks against its cage. Are you really going to kill me? I ask, staring up at the ceiling. His fingers are locked together, resting on his abdomen, rising and falling with his even breaths.
I haven't decided yet.
A heavy knot twists in the center of my chest. Do you really think my father did it? He sighs, his hand rubbing across his forehead, his eyes pinching closed.
Darling, your questions are becoming very tiresome.
I bite the inside of my cheek until I taste blood, holding back the words that are dying to spew out. I risk a glance at his face. Sadness sneaks through his features. Subtle, but there in the way his eyes turn down, and how the silence sticks to his skin, an aura of melancholy, almost as if he's mourning. I'm sorry about your bar, I whisper.
It wasn't mine.
My brows raise, surprise flickering in my chest. Oh, I just assumed.
It was Rue's.
I chew on my lip, nodding. And Rue is... where? His head turns, hair mussing slightly on his pillow, his gaze sizzling as it sits on my skin. I stay stock still, hoping that he finds whatever he's looking for. His tongue swipes over his bottom lip.
Dead.
The word, even though I expected it, hits me like a sledgehammer. Conversations from the evening slotting together like missing pieces of a puzzle. Rue's dead, and my father asked where he was with a smirk on his face. Anger and disbelief war inside me, clashing together in a cataclysmic explosion of grief. Grief for the man who raised me. Grief for the father I've lost. I don't apologize for Rue's death. Something tells me Hook wouldn't appreciate the words, that they'd tip the scale of his anger against me, and the last thing I want to do is upset him even more. Not when we found some weird type of balance, a temporary truce. When I was a little girl, I start. My dad used to bring me acorns. Hook stiffens next to me, and I pause. But when he doesn't speak, I take the risk and continue. It was this stupid thing, really. I was 5 and the biggest daddy's girl in the entire world, even though he was gone most of the time. My chest pulls tight. But when he'd get back home, he'd come into my room and brush the hair from my face, leaning down and kissing my forehead goodnight. Tears blur my vision and I squeeze my eyes shut, hot, wet trails streaking down my face. I used to pretend to be asleep, afraid that if he knew I was awake, he'd stop sneaking in. A knot lodges in my throat and I hesitate, not sure I'll be able to get the words out.
What were the acorns for?
Hook's voice is low and raspy, his eyes staring straight ahead. I smile. I used to have breakdowns whenever he'd leave, worried he'd fly away and never come home. One night when he was saying goodbye, something fell through my open window, and when I woke up in the morning, he had placed it on my end table with a note, promising he'd return. I laugh, shaking my head. It was just a stupid acorn, but I don't know. I shrug, reaching up to wipe away a stray tear. I was a dumb kid. Put sentimentality on things that probably didn't deserve it. But from that night on, whenever he'd leave, he'd bring me another one and set it on my table, promising he'd come back. Agony sears through my broken heart and down into the deepest parts of my soul. And I collected those acorns like kisses.
Why are you telling me this?
He asks. I turn to face him, resting my wet cheek on the back of my hand, my head molding to the pillow. I don't know. To show you that he wasn't always so bad, that once upon a time he really did care. A sob breaks free, and my hand flies to my mouth, trying to stuff it back down. Hook turns to me then, his hand reaching out and cupping my face, his thumb swiping away the tears as they fall.
It's impossible not to care for you, Wendy. If it was, you'd already be dead.
A laugh bubbles in my chest at the absurdity of this entire thing, at the way the man holding me hostage is consoling me over my broken heart, at the way he can say something so vile and make it sound so sweet. Is that supposed to be romantic? I wheeze out between giggles. A small smile graces his face.
It's supposed to be the truth.
The laughter dies down, and we're stuck staring at each other, twisted feelings spiraling through me and branding every part of my fucked up heart. And I know I'm supposed to hate him, but in this moment, I don't. Anyway, I sigh, breaking eye contact, wanting to ease the fire that's building in my veins. The acorns disappeared when my mom died. I sniff. And so did my dad, I guess. He doesn't say anything else, and neither do I. Eventually he rises, going to the dresser on the far side of the room and passing me a pair of boxers and a plain black shirt. Clothes I couldn't imagine him in, even if I tried. And I take them without a fight, slipping them on and crawling back into his bed, knowing I don't have any other choice. "Huck," I whisper through the dark. "Wendy." "I don't want to die." He sighs. "Go to sleep, darling. Your soul is safe tonight." "Okay." I reach up, my fingers playing with the diamond choker that I was too afraid to remove. He told me to keep it on, and I don't know if that extends to when we're here in his home, but I don't want to ruin the calm that we've created. I've been on the end of his ire before, and I have absolutely no desire to be there again. "Huck," I say again. The room stays silent. My stomach feels like lead, but I know if I don't get the words out now, I may not get another chance. "I watch you, you know, when you think no one can see." My fingers move, tangling together underneath the covers. "And if my father has something to do with what makes you look so sad." I reach out blindly, the side of my hand bumping into his. "I see you. I just wanted you to know that." He doesn't respond, but he doesn't move my hand either. And that's how we stay until I fall asleep.
34. James. I lie in bed watching the even rise and fall of Wendy's chest, admiring the way she looks so peaceful even as she whimpers in her dreams. There will be no sleep for me tonight. All of my previous plans when it comes to Peter have been tossed out of the window, rage coursing through my veins, moulding into my cells and cementing into my heart. The JR is gone. Burned to a crisp, nothing but rubble and dust, and while everyone made it out safely, nothing else has been recovered. Not that I keep anything of importance there. When you work outside the boundaries of the law, you learn quickly that keeping things where people expect them to be never works in your favour. Still, the JR was our biggest front to clean the money, and in the end, it had more of a personal meaning. It was where I grew up, where I learned how to be Hook instead of just a monster bred inside a cage. Sure, there are other businesses we own, a few strip clubs on the edges of the city, and a nightclub in the centre of town. But the JR was home. Add to that fact, I'm not sure what to do now with Wendy. I overestimated her and her father's relationship, stupidly assuming that the papers were telling the truth as they waxed poetic about their bond. But no man who has any sense of love in his heart would allow his daughter to stand in front of a killer and beg them for his life. Pathetic. I no longer believe she betrayed me. Yet for some reason, I don't want to let her go. But if Peter Michaels thinks he can come into my town, steal my drugs, burn my businesses, and kill my people without facing my wrath, he's in for a nasty surprise. I slip from the bed, leaving the room and locking the door behind me as I walk into the kitchen, stopping short when I see Smee sitting at the island, a cup of tea in his hand. "I thought you said you were leaving for the night." Smee turns, the red beanie on his head slipping back as he smiles. "I got done with things earlier than I thought. Do you need something?" He lifts his mug. "Cup of tea?" I shake my head. "No, I have business to attend to. Listen, Wendy is here and she is not to leave this boat. Understood?" Smee's eyes glance down the hall before looking back at me. "Everything okay, boss man?" I nod. "If she causes problems, call me immediately. You are not to touch her under any circumstances." He takes another sip from his cup. "Understood." "Good man," I grin. I'm almost out of the room when I hear it. Tick, tick, tick. My head grows dizzy, heart pumping so fast my veins feel like they'll burst. I slowly spin on my heels, my eyes zoned in on where Smee is playing with something on the kitchen counter. Smee, I say slowly, my hands trembling against my sides. What is that noise? Smee glances up, the side of his mouth lifting. I take a jerky step forward, the knot in my stomach twisting so violently it's ripping me in half, and when I reach the island, I inhale deeply, trying to maintain control. Oh, this? He holds up an old-looking watch connected to a gold chain that dangles to the counter. I found it at a pawn shop and just had to get it. He smooths his thumb over the face. I know it's a little loud, but... My vision blurs from how difficult it is to keep from smashing every bone in his hand just to stop that incessant noise. Are you okay, boss? Please, I grind out through my teeth. Get that thing out of my home. My hand swipes out, smashing into his mug, the contents sloshing on the counter, the porcelain shattering against the wood floor. I said, get it out. His eyes widen, his body jerking back. Okay. He races to the deck, running to the side and throwing it out to sea. Closing my eyes, I focus on the beautiful silence, taking deep breaths as the red haze recedes, allowing me to regain control. Smee walks back in, his eyes darting from me to the shattered contents on the floor. I crack my neck, exhaling a heavy sigh. Do not ever bring a clock on this yacht again, do you understand? He swallows and nods. I turn, walking out the door, and shaking off the remnants of my rage, feeling the control slot back in place one by one. The first thing I do is call an emergency meeting with the boys at the Lagoon, the strip club on the outskirts of town. I don't make much of an appearance there, but I need a temporary space, and this is the one with the best office. The next thing I do is call Moira and tell her to meet me here. I should have talked to her immediately, or had one of the boys keep her company until I could get away, but I was too wrapped up in Wendy and my conflicting emotions to think clearly. An oversight, to be sure, but now that I know she's locked in my bedroom, I can breathe easier, allowing my focus to shift. 30 minutes after the boys have their marching orders, Moira saunters into the office, her eyes gleaming and her lips painted that garish red.
Hook, she purrs. It's been a while.
I've been busy. She starts to walk around the desk, but I put a hand up to stop her. You're not here for that. Her lips turn down, brows furrowing.
Oh.
Tell me what happened last night. I steeple my fingers in front of my lips. She sighs, running a hand through her hair as she sits in the chair across the desk.
I already told Starkey everything I knew, Hook.
I smile, my patience running thin. Tell it again.
I don't know, okay?
She bursts out, her arms shooting to the sides.
Everything was fine, and then it was like, boom.
She claps her hands together.
Explosion or something. To be honest, I was so worried about making sure everyone got out, I didn't think much of whatever else was going on.
My fingers scratch against my stubble. Okay. She smiles.
Okay.
I point to her. Stay right there and don't speak. Her forehead scrunches, but she does as I say. And at least at first she's quiet, allowing me to click through business expenses of the Lagoon. I don't necessarily need to, but I do need to pass the time, and while in the past I may have been interested in using Moira's body to do so, I find that the idea repulses me now. She sighs loudly, smacking her hands on her thighs.
Are we going to do anything or not, Hook? This is boring.
My eyes snap to hers. I said, don't speak. She stands up and saunters over.
I could think of something else I could do.
I watch her move toward me, irritation flaring in my chest. She drops to her knees, her red fingernails sliding up my thighs until she palms my cock, wrapping her fingers around the length through the fabric. I bat her hand away and grip her chin, pulling harshly until her face is level with mine. Did I tell you to touch me? She attempts to shake her head. The back of my free hand runs down the side of her cheek. Don't you wish to please me? She nods. Yes. I lean in, my nose brushing hers. Then sit down and stay quiet. Your mouth is of no use to me any more. Her eyes shutter as I drop her face, her body stumbling back as she rubs at her jaw and walks to the chair, crossing her arms and staring at the ground. Over the course of the next hour, we sit in silence. I occasionally call for random employees to come to the back, for no other reason than to make sure they see me here with Moira at this exact moment. But this time, when someone knocks, it's who I've been waiting on. Come in, I say, relief bleeding through my chest as the twins appear. It's done? They nod, glancing to Moira. I lean back in the chair, satisfaction dancing through my insides. See, what Peter doesn't understand is that while he has the money and the social standing, I have the loyalty. And loyalty is bred from respect. You take care of people and they'll take care of you. And if there's one thing Rue and I have done in this town, it's take care of our people. Bloomsburg, Massachusetts isn't like anywhere else in the world, and its inhabitants don't take too kindly to new blood coming in and their town going up in flames. As it happens, the security guard at the new Neverland airstrip is a personal friend. His child had a terrible bout with cancer a few years back, and Rue paid for her chemotherapy and every doctor's visit since. He'll have to disappear, of course, after looping the security feed and allowing my boys inside to light every single plane on fire. But people are willing to do anything for those they love, and he knows his wife and children will be taken care of, protected by the Lost Boys until their last breath. True love sometimes requires sacrifice, something Peter clearly knows nothing about. I look to Moira, a grin spreading across my face. You may leave now. She stands, her chin red from where I gripped it, and turns to leave without a word. Moira, I say. She pauses at the door. Feel free to tell people I gave you a nice ride today. Wouldn't want to sully your reputation, after all. She scoffs, slamming the door behind her, and I grin, jumping to my feet, the sudden urge to head back to my boat making me giddy. Right as I reach my car, my phone vibrates in my pocket. A single text on the screen. Smee, your girl is gone.
All right, and we will find out what happened to her next week. Woo! A bit of a cliffhanger there, man. Oh, baby, let's see. I'm excited to see what will happen next week. As much as I know that you guys are. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you got this far in the episode, appreciate you so much. Love you all. We'll see you probably Sunday. I believe we'll have a Sunday episode this week. And if not, then I'll see you on Monday for stream. But without further ado, love you guys all. See you later. Peace.